So the question today really isn't so much who won that debate, but will it sway undecided voters? Joining us for a recap is political analyst Tom Seraphin and Republican strategist Pat Brady. Gentlemen, thanks for being back.
Sure.
So that's the question. Is this going to sway the undecided voters? Because that's really what this is all about.
Agree.
Start with you.
Yeah, I will think it will sway them. This thing's going to come down to 7 states, roughly 100,000 voters. And if you saw the watch last night, I think Vice President Harris did a nice job in acting presidential, having the right temperament, being very well spoken, understanding the issues, no major gaffes, and she really got into Trump's head. So if you're looking at this and you're not deeply involved in politics, looks more presidential, has a plan going forward, talking about the future, not the past, I think she probably did sway some voters last night.
What do you think, Tom?
Well, 48% of those people that are undecided say they need to know more about Kamala Harris. So they found out more last night. 8% said they need to know more about Donald Trump. So based on what happened last night, I would think that those undecideds would move a little bit towards Vice President Harris. But as you know, you don't win debates, you lose them. He lost the debate. She was able to skate a lot of the issues. She still needs to be defined. She hasn't defined herself yet. There's 60 days left. Every day is a new narrative. It's another month. So this is a wide open race. It's going to be tied for a long time. There's going to be more and more opportunities for people to break out. There's going to be a couple October surprises. It was her night. She did what she needed to do, no mistakes. And being able to bait Donald Trump on the little things, she showed that she understood how to deal with her opponent. And that's why they don't think they should have another debate. I would think that they shouldn't have had the first debate if I was Donald Trump. Now I think he probably needs a debate. And the Taylor Swift thing, that was preordained. And I think probably the Harris people thought, we may not do well in the debate, so we'll drop Taylor Swift on us right afterwards, and it'll give us a big push. Here you got to, at the end of this report, you got Taylor Swift. That should have been a big story. It should be a big story 3 weeks from now, but they used it last night because even the Harris team didn't know she was going to do as well, or he was going to do as badly.
Since you're talking about that, let's show that, because this is what she posted on social media, basically endorsing her, and she has a cat, and she ends it by saying childless cat lady. Pat Brady, Democrats are known for using celebrities to endorse, and there's a lot of criticism involved with that when you do a celebrity endorsement.
Or eat a cat.
Well, we're going to get to that in a minute.
You don't do
what
that.
do you
No,
think?
I don't eat, not your cat. We go to LaGrange, we eat
What
cats.
do you think about this celebrity endorsement? Is it going to make a difference?
I agree with what your point. It's very risky, and I think and I said this, I think, around the Democratic convention. There's a real risk of becoming too elitist. The George Clooney's and all the Hollywood people that people in these 7 states don't care about. Taylor Swift may be the exception in that they need to win. They need to get the Gen Zers out, the people below 35. If they get those folks out, they're overwhelmingly for Harris. She'll have a very good night. But I think these things are very risky. They don't move people of my age at all. And I don't like the Hollywood vibe at all.
Yeah, well,